This is Talk is Sheep, a podcast by the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Come along as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Good afternoon, Steve-O.
It is, isn't it?
I see you got the Monarch hat on.
Of course, right? Why not rep it?
I like it.
Had a couple of good thunder cracks earlier today. It looks like it's sunny, so who the hell knows when you're living in an office space, right?
So it's middle of June. We're recording this. We got 6 weeks till sheep season. That's scary. 6 weeks we'll be in the mountains. Wow.
Already.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, actually.
That means it'd be 3 months that I'll be on my fly-in. Oh, but who's counting, right? Because I fly in on the 13th of September. Who's counting?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's coming quick. So hopefully you're out training, man. You get the pack on and you're putting some miles on.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
So right? I was 65 yesterday. I did 5 miles with 65 8K. So it was
That's pretty good.
not much elevation, but yeah, it was good. My hip flexors are a bit stiff today, but I'm going to throw it on again tonight and head out for maybe a shorter one, just to try to get.
The minute you throw that weight on your back, it's you realize that, oh wow, I've got muscles there that I forgot that I had or didn't even know you had, right?
Yeah, more so the next day you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel good doing this. I'm good. And then 2 days later, it's like, oh, I can't get out of bed.
Not good. Yeah,
anybody doing some sheep hunting or training in general will know that, right? It just comes with time.
Yeah, for sure. So we just did a podcast with Trevor Carruthers on taxidermy. We're looking for more ideas. If you got any ideas, email communications@wildsheepsociety.com. Any how-to stuff. So the more feedback we get, we can tailor the show to you. So don't be afraid to let us know what you want. And if you write in and we use your idea or your guest, we'll send you some swag. So communications@wildsheepsociety.com. Keep the ideas coming.
And let us know if you want the episodes to be shorter or longer, right? Because right now we're trying to cap in about an hour, and that from the feedback we were getting at the beginning, that's what people were wanting, because most people's commutes are 20, 25 minutes to work. They want something to listen to and from work. But if you want them longer or shorter, let us know that as well.
I do think, though, that with my magical voice that people just want to listen, right? So.
Oh, sorry. I fell asleep there for a second. What were you saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I hope people can listen to. I can't listen to my own podcast. So anyway, enough about me. Episode 34, Hunters of Color. This is a fantastic podcast. We welcome Jimmy Flatt to the show. He's one of the founders, along with Lydia Parker and Thomas Tyner, of Hunters of Color, and a great listen.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, accomplished hunter, right? Like the guy's killed a lot of stuff, and
no kidding.
Yeah. He's. I was curious to see if it's an adult onset hunter or whatever, but no, 8 years old, right? So
yeah. This is an episode I've been wanting to put together for a heck of a long time. When I first heard of them on Instagram and started interacting with one campfire with them, we had just such a great conversation. I knew there was something we needed to discuss, and there was a great platform for it. And I think this episode is very, very emotive and interesting, and just we'll draw out good conversations and good thoughts from people, I'm hoping. So I really, really enjoyed this chat with him.
Well, Jimmy is just, you can tell his personality. He's a humble guy. He's well-spoken. He's respectful. And I really like the messaging that he shared about community, about inclusion, about diversity. And it was just there was a sense of inclusivity. It wasn't, excluding anyone, right? They
No,
want everyone to be involved. And I think it's a really important message, and hats off to them for doing it. It's a great movement, and they've seen a lot of support. They're doing really well with it, right?
absolutely are, and they're only gonna grow. Like I said, when I first heard of them, probably last year, they had less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, and they're just under 9,000 now. They are skyrocketing, and it's for good reason. And you'll hear why in this episode.
Yeah, it was interesting too, like some of the obstacles and issues that they're
Mhm.
raising. It's really one campfire centric, right? Like about educating people about hunting, and maybe they're not going to be a hunter, maybe they're not interested, but at least giving them a level of acceptance, so that they have a school curriculum that they're sharing. And I thought, what a great program, and a lot of the issues, and obviously there's the diversity and the color issue, which is their mission statement. That's the bread and butter what they're doing. But there's a lot going on there that all hunters have to worry about, right?
Oh yeah, just so many layers to unpack that you don't even realize, right? And a lot of things you take for granted just by opening the door and throwing on a pack. It just stuff you don't think of. And I really, like I said, really appreciated this conversation that we were able to have, and it's been a long time coming. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate you setting it up, Steve. And so episode 34, Hunters of Color, Jimmy Flatt. Enjoy the listen.
If you looked up the words conservation superhero in the dictionary, you would see a picture of our friend Omer from Precision Optics. A tireless donor and supporter of all things wild sheep, Precision Optics, located in Quesnel, British Columbia, truly stands alone in the high alpine. From optics to rifles to outdoor gear and a knowledge that cannot be surpassed, toss in that killer smile and you have a total conservation package. Precision Optics, we are truly thankful for the support you show us every step of the way. Find them online at precisionoptics.net or in Aroma Foods, located just off Highway 97 in Quesnel, BC.
Hey, Jimmy, welcome to Talk is Sheep. It's great to get you on the show. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally stoked. So, obviously, you're a founder of Hunters of Color, and obviously a hunter yourself. I really want to jump into Hunters of Color and learn all about the organization, what you guys stand for, and your beliefs. But maybe if you could share a little bit about your journey, like where you started hunting, your development, how you got involved with it, and just kind of go right from the very beginning of your hunting background up to today, how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. So, I mean, even before my lifetime, my dad was a game warden on Camp Pendleton while he was stationed there as he was in the Marines, and he kind of steered away from hunting or teaching me how to hunt because while he was a game warden, the only things that he really got involved with were the bad side of hunting. He was writing up poaching
Mm-hmm.
violations. He would horror stories from the coyotes and the immigrants coming over because the base is right on the border. But so he steered away from it. He really encouraged me to get out and be adventurous and explore. And growing up, he taught me how to fish, how to camp, how to backpack. But then it wasn't until I was 8 years old that one of my close family friends invited me out on a hunt in the Central Valley of California for ducks, and it's like deeply ingrained in my brain that morning. It was pitch black. I just remember walking through the water. The waders that I was in were leaky, so I was getting soaked. And I was shivering to the bone. And it was a really foggy morning, and I was looking at the dogs, and the dogs started to get interested in something in the sky, and so I looked up, and through the fog came two mallard ducks. And my dad and my best friend at the time's dad shot both of them, and that was it for me. I was hooked at that moment. I didn't care about being cold. I didn't care about being wet. And so I think that next year I forced my dad to let me take the hunter safety course. I then pushed him into getting me into to turkey hunting, and like together we learned. So me and my dad learned how to hunt together, even though I mean, my dad was probably at that point 35 or something like that. But it was really my addiction to being outdoors that really pushed him into going. And I mean, he doesn't hunt anymore unless I'm there. One day I'd love to get him out into like a Canadian hunt for like moose or bighorn sheep or something. I just want to give back to him for encouraging me to get into this, because it's led me to be where I am now. So, I mean, my hunting journey really started taking off the second I got my driver's license, and I could start taking myself out, and I wasn't relying on my dad to go places. And so once I had my driver's license, I was going out every weekend, either fishing or hunting, and that's where I really kind of dove in and started going by myself. And along this journey, I started to realize I was the only brown face out there. And I didn't really realize it was like a thing until 2016, when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Survey came out that showed that 96% of all hunters are white. And then I realized, oh, that's why I was feeling that way when I was younger. So move on to college. I moved up to Oregon, went to Oregon State University, and I used to be a big baseball player. I gave up playing baseball to dive more into hunting and to focus on school. But Oregon, there's so many more opportunities than there were in California, and that's when I got into elk hunting and kind of like the backcountry style hunts. And I've advanced since. So yeah, that's kind of my background on hunting, and I'm still trying to tag my first bull. The last 4 years with archery, I've been within 25 yards of a bull.
Wow.
Have not been able to let an arrow fly just because of either the wind swirls or you're on the coastal range where you can't see more than 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a huge learning curve, and I mean, I love it. I live for it.
That's awesome, man. So, I'm just curious. Have you done any other big game stuff, chasing deer around or anything like that? Obviously, very accomplished bird hunter, and obviously spent a lot of time in the field chasing elk. But and just, I think you probably know this, but there's easier ways to kill an elk than with a bow and arrow, right? Just saying.
Yeah, but it puts you right in the middle of the rut, and you get to call them in, and also the archery season tends to be a lot longer than the rifle season.
Yeah.
So I, at least I get to pick and choose my weekends, and instead of having just 2 weekends to go out, I get a full month. And last year was cut short because of all the wildfires, but hopefully this year it's a little better.
Yeah, right on. Well, Oregon State doesn't get much better for sure. And you mentioned the sheep hunt. Have you been putting in for your sheep draws, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, I've been putting in for the Oregon draws for 5 years now.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I think it's like on average, for at least the units that I've been putting into, are like 17-year draw. So
Wow.
I'll be waiting a while.
And they're bighorns down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for you.
I know the draw about the duck hunting. I'm an adult onset hunter myself, and I didn't get going until my 30s. And a buddy of mine who's actually a hardcore sheep hunter about 5, 6, 7 years ago said to me, well, we got to go duck hunting. We got to go duck hunting. And it just, didn't really appeal to me. And one day he after about 2 years, 3 years of bugging me, I'm like, okay, well, fine, pick me up. And then I realized, okay, well, pick you up at 3:30 in the morning. Well, it sucks. So we drive all the way out, couple hours, and we get the boat out. And up here, you can only shoot migratory birds. It's half an hour before sunup. So we're out an hour before. We start to set up the decoys, and he's deaf, so he can't hear. So we're throwing out the decoys, and I start hearing splash, 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 and he's just throwing the decoys and he has no idea what's going on. But what I'm seeing is the ducks coming in and they're already flaring. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. And it's now one of my favorite hunts, just from not even pulling the trigger that first hour. It was just watching them come in. As you see, it's just, there's something about duck hunting. And unless you've done it, you don't really know. So yeah, I relate there, man. I totally do.
Yeah, to wrap back around, I mean, I started waterfowl hunting. That was kind of my gateway into all hunting. And at 12 years old, I got my first buck with a rifle. And then in California, in the zone that I grew up in, it's the A zone. They give you 2 over-the-counter blacktail tags a year, and it wasn't rare for me to get both of them when I was growing up. But then when I turned 18, so every American boy's dream when he's 18 is to get an AR-15. At least when naive young Jimmy wanted an AR-15 when he turned 18. So my mom was not about it at all, and it was like, we're not getting you an AR-15. You'll have to find something else. And so on my birthday, I thought they blindfolded me and they're like, we're gonna go pick up your present, and I thought that they were taking me to a gun shop, but they took me to an archery shop, and they said, you have a $300 spending limit. Go ahead, get everything you need. And I mean, if you know anything about archery, $300 is pretty minimal to get a full archery setup. And so I came out of there with like entry level bow, full length shafts, and my birthday is like a week before turkey season opens up in California. And the first day I went out, I had a turkey at 17 yards. I had like these crappy broadheads on, and came full draw, let the arrow fly, and the arrow just sailed right over the turkey.
Yeah.
What was that? So I went and got set up on another spot, had another turkey come in, let another arrow fly. Same thing happens. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm down to my last broadhead, and I knock it, get another turkey to come in, and let it fly. Same thing. So I was like, okay, what is going on? Turns out you're supposed to cut your arrows down to length. You're supposed to get your bow tuned. You're supposed to have your draw length set. I had none of that. I just pulled it off the shelf and was like, let's go. So huge learning curve. And I made a promise to myself then and there that I wouldn't pick up a rifle or a shotgun until I got my first archery kill.
Awesome.
And it took me, it was like 2.5 years. And I got my, it actually happened to be a deer. So I was 20 years old. I got a deer. Actually, like, there's a window right here, just past this window up in the hills.
Right on.
Yeah, one of my buddies had access to some property here, and we set up a tree stand, and it took me like, I don't know, 14 days of sitting in the same tree to see anything come in. A little spike came in, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever because I shot. It was a clean shot right through the heart, down under, and then the arrow was sticking in the snow that was below the deer, and the buck kind of jolted, walked like 5 feet, and then fell over right there. And
Beauty.
it was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced, and so that's what hooked me into archery. And I've been trying to replicate that with elk, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. So do you still hunt turkey with the archery, or are you a little combination of both, or what do you do there?
This year was the first year that I didn't get a turkey. It was like the last 6 years I've gotten all of my turkey with a bow. But this last year I had to put the bow down just because I didn't have enough time because of a nonprofit and everything else that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of weird not getting one with a bow this year.
Well, congratulations, man. I have to say hats off to you. Just a huge accomplishment just to pick up a bow like that and then be so successful year after year. So I have no doubt you're going to kill an elk here this year, and really stoked to hear and see all about it. So right on. That's you're much better hunter than I am. I've used archery before, and I learned really early on that no, I just stick to what I'm okay at. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a couple of bears archery, but that's about it.
yeah, cool. Okay, Jimmy, that's great. Fantastic to obviously you've got a lot of experience in the hunting community. You've done a lot of hunting over the years. So you touched a little bit on about being kind of the only brown face in the crowd when you're out chasing the critters around. So I'd like to jump into Hunters of Color, and I know it's a registered not-for-profit 501c3, and you guys got started last summer. So and you've done a fantastic job of promoting the work you guys are doing. But let's tell our listeners a little bit about what Hunters of Color stands for. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your founders, about Lydia and Thomas too. So, just open up and we'll probably have some questions based on that.
Yeah, so Hunters of Color is a nonprofit based in breaking down barriers to entry into hunting for people of color. And we incorporated in was that August of 2020, and became an official nonprofit 501c3 with IRS this last April, so pretty recently. And we've had a pretty solid social media presence. We're growing every day,
hmm
and we are rapidly growing. So we have events that are going to be taking place this year in New York, Oregon, Minnesota, California, Washington. We're looking at Montana and also New Mexico. And then beyond that, I think next year we'll be expanding to more states. And basically, so I mean, there's a million barriers to entry into hunting,
hmm
regardless of your skin color, regardless of your ethnic background. But we are focused on breaking down any barriers that may exist for people of color to get uh, into hunting. What really sparked our, I guess this drive and mission to accomplish this was in 2016. There was a study that came out. I think I mentioned it earlier. It was by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that did the demographics of hunting as a whole, and it showed that 96% of all hunters are white, and that doesn't reflect what the U.S. Or North America's demographics or look like. So, um, I mean, growing up, it was pretty obvious that I was the only brown person out there, and it was rare to find another Hispanic or Black person out hunting. But when I did, I was always curious to see, like, oh, how did you get into hunting, or like, how did you get out here? Because my story is completely different. But um, yeah, it's been growing rapidly. We we have a lot to do. There's a lot of we have a long way to go, but we're starting here, and it's been going great so far.
Yeah, I've followed you pretty much since would probably be about day one. Like you had less than 1,000 followers. It was just I don't remember what post it was. It caught my attention. Like, wow, I really, really like what this is about. And one of the posts that really got us chatting was that one with Dennis, the in the tree stand where he had all the names thrown at him. And I reached out to you and I said, "Can you get us in touch?" And sent him a swag pack and said, "Hey, this shouldn't happen. We're all on the same team here." And it's like you said, it's been watching you explode has just you're skyrocketing. And absolutely love watching the posts and seeing the interactions and seeing the who's who coming out to play, so to speak, and really jumping on board. And it's great.
Yeah, Dennis was one case that happened to be filmed,
hmm
and we decided that we had to elevate that, and we got his permission to to share it, and it was actually an amazing thing because the community stepped up and really took a stand against the racism that he
Mm-hmm.
experienced. And I mean, we've had some follow up posts about him, but he's hooked into hunting now, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't let that one experience deter him from getting out, which isn't the case for most. But because the hunting community did step up and basically said that most of it, or most if not all of us, are not okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was able to realize that there's more good out there than bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, was 2 weeks later, he ended up getting his first deer from that tree stand. It was just, wow. It was really,
Yeah.
really cool to see that.
Yeah, and he started off with archery too, which is
Yeah.
I don't recommend starting off with archery when you're getting into it, just because of the steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
But he was all on board, and yeah, he ended up getting a few deer this last season, which is amazing. I wish I would have gotten a few deer my first
No
season.
kidding. No kidding.
But yeah, he's well into his hunting, and I'd like to think that we helped a little bit, and we are going to continue to help as much as we can for people who have any trepidations about getting into hunting and might feel like they might be judged based on their ethnic background or the color of their skin. And so we're just trying to dismantle those barriers to entry, and yeah, and just really make it inclusive of all people, and show that this community is for everybody, because we all share a connected background that takes us to our ancestral hunting roots.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who you are, if you're here today, your ancestors were dang good hunters.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think the one thing we have to realize is, the first North American hunters didn't look like me, right? It was, certainly they were people of color, First Nations, obviously. So, they were the original hunters in North America for sure. And they were, I can guarantee they were a heck of a lot better than I am. So there's no question about it. Their gear maybe wasn't quite as good as what I have, but I can guarantee you they were a lot more proficient at it. So, and so on that point, Jimmy, I was wondering, it's a tough subject, right? Like discrimination and racism. And we had this case with Dennis. I like for you to maybe jump into that. Like, obviously, you guys are about inclusion, about people of color feeling comfortable in a safe environment to come into the community and get involved. But let's maybe, because we went to Dennis right away, let's maybe touch on the discrimination piece and about racism and how you feel it is in the hunting community. Do you feel, as certainly as hunters of color, that you've been welcomed into the hunting community, or is this something you see? And obviously, racism and discrimination is pretty alive and well. We've seen it, flare up in these last couple of years specifically. What does it look like moving forward for you guys? Is that something that's really on your radar, or you feel that there's a lot of work to be done, or how's it looking from your perspective as the founder of Hunters of Color?
Well, so far the feedback has been amazing. We've had, I think, probably about 99% of all the feedback we've gotten is positive. There's a few outliers, but they're far outweighed by the positive people in the industry and in the community. I mean, we're not going to single-handedly tackle racism and prejudice within hunting, but we're going to do our part. And for the most part, organizations and bigger companies have taken a stand and have reached out and said that they support us 100%. Most of them are adopting diversity and inclusion statements that are promoting equity and within their ranks. And so, yeah, I mean, it's something that exists. There is some gatekeeping that is prevalent within hunting, but I think through representation, through our active outreach into communities of color, we are going to be dismantling those presuppositions that hunting is white, or hunting isn't for people of color, or whatever it may be. And so one of the things that we are really harping on and trying to create is a community where people of color feel safe in. Some people of color, not all, don't feel comfortable going into the woods with a bunch of white men with guns. And so we are actively trying to create an environment where we have a community that more closely represents a community that they feel comfortable with, or something similar, so that they feel comfortable getting out into the outdoors. And I mean, there's a quote we like to use, is that there's a difference between saying you're welcome here and this was built for us. This was built with you in mind, and this is your space. So we're trying to create that space right now. And yeah, we're not going to single-handedly dismantle all barriers or all the systemic racism that exists, but we're going to try our best to tackle as best we can.
I think you guys are doing a fantastic job in your messaging. So, for our listeners and for me too, actually, can you just elaborate kind of, what are you doing to encourage that? So you talked about all these different events across the U.S. I've seen that you guys have attended the BHA Rendezvous, which is fantastic. So that's the education component. But then you also, this spring, you had those 7 hunters out chasing turkeys, right? So can you kind of break it down for us? About what you guys are doing. So maybe the education component, the outreach, and educating, people outside your own community, but then also, what kind of things you're doing to bring people in to encourage them to join as a hunter of color.
Yeah. So on the educational side, we've got, we're breaking down, well, we're giving some historical context to why 96% of hunters are white in the United States, or at least in North America. I don't know if the study included Canada, but it's probably not far off. So, I mean, it starts with the forceful removal of indigenous people from their ancestral hunting lands. Then you have slavery that continued on for another 200 years. And then post-emancipation, there's black codes and different laws that excluded all people of color from getting outdoors, going to public pools, swimming in public places, all these different things. And so we're giving that historical context to give people some grasp of why and how we ended up where we're at. And then beyond that, we're educating people on hunting ethics, hunting safety. And one of our biggest projects in the educational region is a school curriculum that we're working with 2 individuals. And we hope to start that this coming fall. And we're going to be, it's basically going to be teaching youth in like an elementary school setting how important hunting is, how it can be used as a tool for conservation. Hunting is, I don't want to steal the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation quote, but hunting is conservation. And even if we don't create hunters out of this curriculum, at least we are creating educated future voters that'll be advocates for hunting. Along that, we're really pushing. Right now, we're working on creating a curriculum for companies on how to be more inclusive, how to do authentic outreach, and then we're also working on an allyship little training module that's going to help existing hunters be better allies to people of color and people within our ranks of hunters of color. And then we have a mentorship program, which is been super popular. We're currently navigating the insurance space, which has prevented us from doing a lot with it.
Mhm.
But this turkey season I was doing a proof of concept for our programming for that, and basically the mentorship program is based on the model of hunting has been passed down usually from father to son or grandfather to grandchild, and so we want to try to dismantle the barrier that is the educate or the educational gap that it may exist if you have been removed from hunting within your family for more than one generation. And so the mentorship program, we're accepting mentors from all backgrounds, all ethnicities. If you've hunted before, we ask that you have at least 3 years of experience and you want to pass this on to somebody or pass on hunting. We encourage you to sign up for the mentorship program. It's a quick, like 15-minute application. I basically just ask people what species they're comfortable teaching people how to hunt, what their comfort level is in teaching. So it could be just as easy as telling people how or where to go to hunt, or it could be as simple as how to buy a license, or how to navigate the draw. That's something that there's a huge barrier because it took me, I don't know, in Oregon, once I moved up here, it took me like 3 years to finally start applying for my controlled hunts. And then the mentee side of it is anybody with 0 to 2 years of experience hunting who is either looking for a companion or wants to just get started off from the beginning. And so the way that we have this slated out is we're going to start in a group environment where we go and do safety briefings. We do like classroom style courses where we start off with an hour or two of kind of lectures and making sure that everybody understands gun safety and ethics. And then we'll go out to the field and do like clay shooting or pattern shotguns or shoot a rifle or bow. And then from there, these mentees will be brought to a group style hunt. So it's either pheasant or dove or something that's conducive to doing group hunts. And then from there, it's gonna slowly taper into a one-on-one relationship with a mentor. But in these events, mentors and mentees are encouraged to come. And then from there, we'll start matching people up and letting people actually or naturally find people that they trust. And yeah, so that's how that's going. Beyond that, we have Field the Fork programs that we have going on in New York. And I think we're going to be doing one one state I forgot was Arkansas. We're doing that with Jonathan Wilkins, Black Duck Revival. And so we're going to be doing a duck hunt with them and then a deer hunt in New York. And the New York program is in partnership with the Nature Conservancy, BHA, and the National Deer Association. And that's going to be a crossbow hunt on the Nature Conservancy's property, which is going to be really cool. And I think the coolest part about it is that the Nature Conservancy reached out to us, said, "Hey, we want to do our part in opening up our property in New York for people of color, but we don't know how to do it." And so we partnered together and we got a couple other organizations involved. And we're going to be hosting this on just outside of Albany, New York this year. And hopefully that translates to the Nature Conservancy opening up more of their properties for us to host events like this in following years. And I mean, one of one of the biggest barriers to entry we have is land access in the United States, and depending on where you're from, New York, there isn't a whole lot of public land. There's chunks of it, but primarily it's privately owned, and the Nature Conservancy sees that, or seeing that as one of the main barriers, and wants to do their part in opening up property for people of color to get into hunting.
Wow, like there's so much to unravel there. Like holy, like wow. If there's any chance that I'd love to chat with you more about that and see if there's a way of getting some of us involved up here in Canada, because that's huge. That's desperately needed, and I love that direction and the way you planned it out.
Yeah, we've got a lot of moving parts right now, and it's amazing to see that the community is really reaching out their hand and saying, "Hey, we want to make a difference. We really want to help you in your mission, and let's do this together." So, yeah, we're super grateful for everybody involved.
Yeah, all over helping in Canada for sure.
So, Jimmy, on that note, you talked about these the group events to start. So, is this going to be, like you mentioned all the states, and you talked about what you're doing in Albany and New York State there, but is this going to be kind of an Oregon centric thing, or you mentioned like these other, like, well, Arkansas and then New Mexico, and so, but do you have the centric to certain states, or is it just going to be in Oregon to start, or what does it kind of look like, and can people that are interested from outside that area as a mentor or a mentee put their name in to get involved?
Yeah, we're actually going to be doing these bigger events where we're going to be hosting hunts in the states that get the most traction. So New York has been a state that's gotten a lot of traction. California, Oregon, Washington, New Mexico, and Minnesota. So these states are the ones that we're focusing in on to begin with, and then as word gets out about what we're doing and we get more traction, we're going to be spreading into more states, and then eventually we'll be doing some outreach and active recruiting for our mentorship programs. But that's in the works. The foundation of that is being talked about on the side right now, but yeah, I mean we're spreading like wildfire.
That's awesome. So now you mentioned with the mentorship program, you're looking for mentors and you're looking for all races. So Caucasian doesn't matter, white, everyone's encouraged, or do you have to be a person of color to get involved in that?
No, everybody's encouraged.
Awesome.
It's going to take an army to achieve our mission of making the demographics resemble that of what the United States or North America looks like. So yeah, if you have any interest in getting involved, please sign up. And I mean, it's up to you. I mean, your commitment is it's up to you. So if you only want to do one hunter every 10 years, that's fine by us. But it's up to individuals and how comfortable they are passing along the knowledge of hunting.
Fantastic. And, hats off to you for having the vision to have that inclusivity. I think that's really important and lacking. And just to have that inclusivity and get everyone involved is really an important part of that. So good on you guys to recognize that and include individuals. Do you mind just sharing with us if somebody's interested? And I guess on that note, if somebody from, a lot of our listeners are Canadian, but not exclusively, if you're up in Canada here and you want to get involved, are you interested in hearing from people from Canada as well, or is it just kind of outside your purview right now?
Yeah, so we've gotten a ton of interest from British Columbia and primarily out of the city in Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on our list to get up there within the next year or two and
Okay.
start programming up there. We also have a lot of traction out of like Ontario, Quebec, mainly out of the cities. But we do have some mentors already signed up out of those places, and we have to figure out insurance in the United States first, and then once we figure that out, then we can probably transfer that over to across the border.
Yeah, fantastic. So if somebody's interested in signing up as a mentor or a mentee, how do they do that? Where do they go?
Uh, Everything that you can, well, you should be able to find everything on our website. It's huntersofcolor.org. Um, it's under construction right now. It probably, well, it's still works. Everything's functional, but our website design is very rudimentary. Lydia actually put it together in like 35 minutes. And we're looking for somebody to go and take another swing at it and clean it up a little bit. But it's there. The application is there, and it should only take about 15 minutes to fill out.
Cool. So, where you're in an early stage, it's kind of you're still in your first year, really. And you obviously have a lot of growth plans. Now, I'm guessing that all three of you are volunteers, all three founders, or any of you guys going full time at this?
So I volunteer. I work a full-time job. I'm a manufacturing engineer as my profession.
Nice.
Lydia has been working in the nonprofit realm for a little over 2 years now, and she just jumped ship to go full time on Hunters of Color as a volunteer. So we're waiting on funding to come in um, for her to start making a living off of this, because it really is it's I mean, 4 people probably couldn't take on this amount of work if they're all full time. So Lydia is our champion right now, and doing a lot of the heavy lifting, um, and hopefully we'll get her paid soon to do all this, and it shouldn't be long until grant money starts coming in, and um, we have somebody working on this full time and able to really start pushing the envelope.
Yeah, so that was my next question. So funding models for this, obviously you're not for profit. There's donations, corporate, private, personal. Where do you guys, I guess you've probably seen a pretty big need for this. It sounds like, obviously you got a really strong mentorship program going with the spring already. We've seen that. And you're growing leaps and bounds through the social media channels. Obviously Instagram is doing really well. So I guess funding models moving forward, there's obviously, government grants probably available. And then, if somebody's interested in supporting you guys, how does that work? Can they just reach out and donations, that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, we do have a donation portal on our website. It's huntersofcolor.org again. And everything that comes in is tax refundable. So I'm not sure how it reciprocates across the border. Um, but for the American viewers, every dollar that you donate to us is tax deductible. And at the end of the year, when you're filing for taxes, um, at least during this last year, 100% of the dollars that you donated to charity came back to you. And so uh, it's an easy way to give back and to do your part. And every dollar is going to be going towards our programming and making sure that we're pushing towards our mission. And we're going to be the salaries that we get, well, for Lydia at least, are going to be funded through grants. And that'll be through federal grants, grants given to us by different state agencies and stuff like that. So being a nonprofit really helps on that sector, where you can get donations from individuals, from private parties, and also it allows you to get grant funding.
Fantastic, man. Hats off to you guys. So now, in terms of moving forward, when you look at the organization, and you look at the work that needs to be done, what are kind of your areas of focus? Is it about promotion, getting more people into the community, and promoting it that way, or do you see it as promoting more diversity in the hunting community? What's kind of the biggest barrier that you see right now, I guess, for Hunters of Color as an organization, and just for Hunters of Color as well?
Well, so it's going to take more than just than posting people on Instagram. It's going to take more than just getting people out into hunting. What it's really going to take is everybody stepping up and realizing that there are wealth gaps, there are generational knowledge gaps that exist within hunting. If you've been removed from anything for one generation, it's really hard to be handed down that knowledge. So one of the biggest things we have as an organization moving forward is, well, one, funding, starting up this huge thing where everybody's reaching out at this moment and wanting to do something with us, but we're spread thin. And but as we develop, I think the goal for us truly is to not exist. We want to phase
Awesome.
ourselves out. We want to accomplish our mission, and then let hunting be naturally passed down from generation to generation as it was and should be. And we live for that, and hopefully it's accomplished within the next 20 years, maybe less. But yeah, so the biggest thing is just making sure that everybody's on board, knows the barriers to entry that exist, wants to help, and yeah, it's been we've gotten so much good feedback that I'm having a hard time seeing any negatives to what we're trying to accomplish or any huge barriers that might stand us still.
Fantastic. So you're hoping 20 years down the road that Hunters of Color does not exist because there's just not a need for the organization, that we're all just going to be in the bush and we're all going to be doing our thing, and hunters will be colorblind, basically, right?
Yeah, not colorblind, but know that at one point there were barriers, and that they no longer exist, and that everybody is out there because we share the love for hunting. We share the love for outdoors and conservation, and we're just within community with one another, and living those stories around the campfire. And yeah, I just hope that we get to that point sooner rather than later.
Good for you, and I think that's a valid point. When you get people around the campfire, that's a really good place, right? There's a lot of bonds that are built around that, and I think if we could get people out there and doing this thing that we love together, and you get around the campfire, it breaks down a lot of barriers because we understand each other more. We're more open, we're inclusive. I feel like everyone's welcome at my campfire, and when I'm around that campfire, things change for me. People that maybe I didn't have time for or didn't know that well, and it wasn't necessarily I didn't like them. Guaranteed, after we've shared a campfire, I'll have a good vibe from that person, right? So, yeah, it's I love that word you use too, community, right? So, really, really good language you're using there for sure, Jimmy. And I think there's such a huge need for this, and hats off to you and Lydia and Thomas for putting this all together. It's such a fantastic concept. So, I know you got plans tonight, but there's one more I got to talk to you. So when we look at Hunters of Color, and you've seen a lot of support, 99.9% good stuff. How is it looking when you reach out to organizations and companies? What kind of support have you got? You mentioned BHA has been good. You mentioned a few other organizations. Are you seeing a lot of support and people wanting to organizations wanting to jump on board and get involved with what you guys are doing?
Yeah, for the most part, I think companies are eager to find a way to do authentic outreach, and the best way to do that is with an organization that's dedicated to that outreach. And so, we've had a lot of private companies reaching out and saying, "Hey, we want to support you guys. How do we do that?" We've also had a lot of companies say, "Hey, we need you to do this for us," but they're missing one component: is that there's a price on it, and if you're a for-profit company, you have money to allocate towards these things that you want an organization to do for you. So yeah, that's one of the things that we've come into contact with, is that there's companies that are asking us to do a lot for them, but aren't willing to realize that there is a value on that for what we're trying to do. And then once we break that down, once people realize that yes, there's a cost associated with true outreach, it'll start going a little quicker.
I feel that one. I feel that one a lot.
Fantastic. Steve, you got anything else for Jimmy?
I want to know more about this turkey hunt before he goes away. Like we started chatting about it before we started recording, and get into that. I saw some amazing pictures. We were chatting back and forth, and you said, "Oh yeah, just getting set up on a turkey hunt." And you sent a picture. There was like 7 or 10 birds or whatever it was right there. I'm like, "Oh come on, that's not fair." So get into that a bit. Like,
Yeah.
I've never killed a turkey.
Oh man, we'll have to change that here pretty soon.
Heck yeah.
Oregon and California are probably one of the better states to go turkey hunting. If you can find private land, well, there's public land here in Eastern Oregon. There's a ton of public land where there's a really good bird population. But in California, there are birds everywhere. You drive up and down I-5 and you'll see them just crossing the highway or on the side. And
Wow.
so I grew up in Sonoma Valley, California, and the entire valley is privately held and owned. And so I had the fortune of my best friend had he grew up on a property of it was 250 acres on one side of the road and another 250 acres on the other side of the road, and there were turkey everywhere there. So that's where I really cut my teeth and learned how to hunt and how to set up decoys, how to call them in, how to stay still, and so this last year I realized that okay, we need to prove our mentorship concept. We need to figure out if turkey hunting is going to be a viable option for mentorship. And so the first hunt of the year, we actually we reached out to Rue Mapp, who is a friend of ours who lives close to Sonoma, and she invited out her mentor and her mentee, even though she's only been hunting for a year. And she was like, "Jimmy, do you think we'll be able to get 3 turkey in one day?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we'll try." And I didn't want to promise anything, but within 10 minutes of opening day, Rue and her mentor had tagged out, and
Wow.
not 5 minutes later, her mentee, who was set up with me, had a crack at his first turkey, and it was like a 10-yard shot.
Wow.
But I think the pattern was too tight, and it was a clean miss. And as I was getting up to relocate, 2 other toms came running up the hill, and so I started creeping back to make it sound like a hen was going around the corner, and these turkeys came in within feet of Angelo, and he got another shot at one, missed again, and he was feeling down on himself, but I knew that there was plenty of turkey in the area, and so we went back down to the truck. We recouped, regrouped, made sure that everybody was feeling good. Rue and her mentor Holly were just ecstatic that they had already gotten their birds. And so we shot out. We had another turkey come in, and it was sitting there about 20 yards. But where I was, I could see it perfectly. But where Angelo was, there was a tree between him and the turkey. So I tried to reach over and grab one of my fans to see if I could pull his attention off to the side. And it ended up busting him out of there. And so we went down the gully into this like perfectly like oak savanna area where it was just luscious green grass, and there was this tom just gobbling his head off over the little ridge. And so set up the decoy, called him in, and it took him about 45 minutes to go that 100 yards, and he did this big loop all the way into us, and the turkey was at 25 yards, about 5 yards away from the decoy. And I leaned over to Angelo and I said, "Are you ready?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Shoot him when you're ready." And he dropped the turkey. he jumped up celebrating and was just, and I was enthralled.
Awesome.
Me and Thomas, if you go on our Instagram page, there's an image of that turkey coming in, and Thomas captured there's pictures of it. So Angelo got his first turkey, Rue got her first turkey, and then we made it back to Oregon for opening for opening weekend in Oregon. We brought out 2 other individuals who got their first turkey, and then Jonathan Wilkins came up to hang out, and he got his first turkey on our first day out, and that was cool too, because we were on this. It was a really thin piece of property, and so Jonathan's from Arkansas, and he said that if you shoot one turkey every 3 years, you're probably the best turkey hunter in Arkansas.
Jeez.
So the densities there are super low, and I think he said he'd seen what was it, four turkey before that his entire life. And so the day he flew in, we drove him up to this property that tends to have like 200 or 300 turkey on it, and we just drove around, and he was just in shock at how many birds there were. And so the next day we went to this really thin property and happened to call 2 turkeys up to the fence, and they came under, and as we were at the fence, Jonathan and I doubled on turkeys that first day.
Wow.
of hunting. The next day we got busted by a turkey, and then the day after that he ended up getting a second turkey.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the turkey whisperer. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I learned. Well, that's probably where I'm most proficient is with turkey, just because I had so many opportunities, and learned a lot by failure growing up, and I think I've narrowed in those skills, and I'm at the point where I'm pretty confident in getting people on birds.
That sounds like a blast. It
Yeah.
really does. Wow.
Next spring, we're going down to Oregon, Steve.
No kidding. Road trip.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll meet you guys anywhere, or you can come hunt the properties around here.
Works for me.
That's awesome, Jimmy. Right on. Well, hey, I know you got plans tonight. I just want to thank you and Lydia for taking the time for us today and meeting with us and educating us on what you guys do, and you're doing fantastic work there. I got 2 words for you, or 3, or whatever it is. Sheep hunting chapter of Hunters of Color. Come on, buddy. You got to get on that. Figure that out. We need a sheep hunting chapter. So
yeah, I really want to get up and do a hunt up there. I've always, like, my dream hunt is in British Columbia, I think. This is how I have it pictured in my head. This is where I get dropped off with a raft at like a higher lake, and then I float down from that lake to different hunting spots. And each night we set up camp, and we go do hunts out of camp from the river. And I've always dreamed about that. I think I saw a YouTube video like 2014 maybe that somebody did that, where they one of their buddies had passed away, and they put his ashes into some shotgun shells, and went to spread his ashes out in the wilderness, and they did a floating trip. And I was like, I need to do that before I'm dead, before I do it in a shotgun shell.
Yeah, that's pretty much right where I live, right in the center of BC. That there's lots of float hunts around here. So yeah, we should set something up. We should discuss.
That's a thing. That's doable.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is.
That's awesome.
I get moose. I get moose in my front yard.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
I think if you come to BC, you won't be disappointed unless you're chasing turkeys. I don't think we can top Oregon, but
it depends where you're chasing turkeys. Apparently,
yeah.
In the Kootenays, there's turkeys, but yeah, not like that.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jimmy. Well, we want to thank you again. Wish you guys the best of luck, and look forward to watching you guys grow and doing the great work that you're doing there. And just thank you for taking the time to meet with us today, and wish you all the best with everything you guys got going on there. I got a good feeling about what you guys are going to do. So much involved. It's going to be a real good real good part of the landscape moving forward. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle and Steve. It's awesome that you guys are willing to highlight our mission and are on board for what we're trying to do.
Absolutely, we are, buddy. Absolutely.
Awesome.